In this video, we'll show you how to perform a firmware update for your DJI Phantom 3 and Inspire 1. To start, go to DJI.com, select the Support tab, scroll down and select Downloads under the menu that corresponds to your specific drone. For example, Phantom 3 owners should choose the update according to your model. Click the zip file and the download will begin. When the download is done, navigate to your Downloads folder or wherever you chose the zip file to be stored. After extracting the zip file, open up the folder that you created for the archive. Inside, you will see an instructional PDF and a bin file. Bin stands for binary, and it's a typical file type for firmware updating on drones and many other devices such as a wireless router. We now need to transfer the bin file to your microSD card. We want to copy that bin file onto the root folder of the card. Right-click on the bin file and choose Copy. Now, right-click inside of your open folder for your microSD card and choose Paste. The file should not be contained in any folder on the card. It needs to be at the root or the top level of the card. Having it stored outside of any folders allows for the drone and the drone's remote controller to read the bin file successfully. Go ahead and safely eject the microSD card and insert the card back into your drone. Okay, now we're ready to begin the actual firmware update process. The whole process can take up to 25 minutes depending on the size of the update. Once the card is inserted and you power on the drone, the update process will start automatically. And you'll hear a series of beeps letting you know that the drone update is working. If you encounter a solid tone during the update process, the update has failed, so power down the drone and start over. Once the update is finished, the series of beeps will change. You'll know that the update finished, so power down the drone and remove the microSD card. As a note, you may notice that the camera and gimbal are slightly warm now, but don't worry because this is normal. We'll now look at the status message that was written back to the microSD card to verify that the update finished correctly. Insert the microSD card into your computer and open it up. You can see that a text file was created on the card, and opening this file will let you know if the update was successful, or whether it aborted, or just failed altogether. If the text file says failed, delete that text file and place the card back into the drone and attempt the update again. If it continues to fail after multiple attempts, go ahead and re-download the firmware update from the DJI website and start the firmware process update over again. After the successful update, you can now delete that text file. You should now repeat the whole process for the remote controller. An easy way to upload the firmware to the remote is to use a USB flash drive on the built-in USB port of the controller. Just put the bin file on a USB flash drive, safely eject the flash drive from your computer, and insert the flash drive into the controller. You can also use a USB reader that takes microSD cards if you have one, and with that reader, you can reuse the same microSD card you used for the drone. Go ahead and power on the controller. Allow up to 60 seconds for the update to even begin. This controller update will take between 5 and 10 minutes, which is quite a bit shorter. The update is finished when the controller LED turns green and the beeping tone ends. Go ahead and power off the controller and check the text file that was written by the controller. It looks like we were successful, as you can see here. If your text file says failed or aborted, start the process over again. Finally, let's go ahead and delete the text file that the controller just made from your USB drive or your microSD card. This is a vital step for all Inspire 1 owners that have a second controller. If you go to update the second controller and you still have the text file from the first controller on the card, the update on your second controller will be skipped. Now that we've updated the firmware on the drone and the controller, let's update the last item, your flight batteries. You can start with the battery that's already in your drone. The firmware does not update this battery when it's updating the drone's firmware during the first step we did. Start by placing the microSD card with the bin file back into your drone. Remember, we let the drone cool down after updating its firmware, so hopefully it's cool again while you've been updating your controller's firmware. Power on the drone with the battery you want to update and with the microSD card that has the bin file installed, and then let the process begin. The drone will begin to make the same sounds as before, but keep an eye on the battery's LED lights. The flickering LEDs mean that the update is in process, and it takes around 3 to 4 minutes for each battery. Once you hear this tone, the firmware update has been completed for the battery. Power down the drone, pull the battery out, and set it aside. Insert your next battery into your drone, power on the drone, and let the process begin again. If you have 10 batteries, do this 10 times. As an aside, there is no need to delete the text file between batteries like you had to do between updating multiple controllers. Complete this cycle for each of your batteries. When you have updated all of your batteries, pull the microSD card out and remove all the firmware update files from the card. You've now completed the firmware process entirely. If you have any problems or interesting stories about how this process has gone horribly wrong, let us know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching this drone tutorial from Copter Shop. If you learned something today, please click the like button for this video and subscribe to our channel as well. We look forward to your feedback in the comments section. Finally, please visit our store at coptershop.com.